Well, good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folarin. Okay, well, sorry about that. We've come a bit late, and that's because maybe like you, we were watching the ongoing collation of the results from the election in Kogi. The INEC, as you know by now, had to postpone, continuation till this morning. But over in Bayelsa, it looks like it's all about wrapped up, and David Lyon, in Bayelsa, the APC candidate, has been declared by INEC to have won that particular election. As for the results, as I said, they're ongoing, but newspaper reports were saying that the incumbent governor and candidate of PDP, APC, Yahaya Bello, that he was leading, but leading is not having won the election. That's what they're collating right now. So that's where we are. My guest this morning, Janet Afolabi-Mba. She's a journalist and publisher. Thank you very much for coming on.
Good morning, Yuri.
My pleasure. And Chuks Nwoko, publisher and social commentator. So we have the publishers in the house today. It means that you can depend on what they're saying, facts.
Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure, Chuks. Let me start off with you. It's been a long weekend, reports that were coming in, some very worrying, but then all of that seems to have leveled itself out. There was a time when INEC said that it couldn't account for 30 people on it, but then the latest news is that, no, as a matter of fact, false alarm. Actually, we have them. The chairman of INEC has spoken with them. None was injured, not to mention killed. But that doesn't mean that there weren't reports of deaths in the entire process, right, Chuks?
That's what we get every time elections elicit
Unfortunately.
those kind of news items that are designed to, just generate cause tension and make the whole world Nigeria stand at a standstill every time we have elections. And I think that by the grace of God, one day we're going to have a change. I was here in the studio to join my voice. Yes, to join my voice with commentaries about the goings on in Bayelsa and Kogi and all that. I think that we haven't learned so much. Nothing much has changed. We still have people dying. We still have people who have not grown up yet. Our politicians haven't grown up. We haven't matured yet. And all that. So it's just election in 2 states, and we have all these mobilization of security apparatus to those states in a very large number. You still have people pointing accusing fingers to the institutions and all that. Nothing much is said about this bad behavior that we have when we're not properly disciplined, when we're not able to rule ourselves, and our security officers are not actually respected. That's how we have degenerated, and that's how vulnerable we have become every time that we have election. And I think that the elections in other climes have gone beyond a point where you deploy a state or a country shut down and all that. I think that is a worrying sign.
Indeed.
And I hope that one day we will mature.
Well, hopefully. Janet, when one heard the size of police deployment to both of these states, we commented on that last week, that there were some saying that isn't this, it would seem as if there was a kind of militarization. We were even commenting on it, but it didn't matter in the end, because you would have thought that the police would have been I think 34,000 in one case and maybe 31,000 in the other states.
34 in one, 35. Altogether, there were 69,
66,000 policemen.
34 in one, 31 in another.
Therefore, ordinarily, you would think that nobody would even think of causing trouble. But you then hear commentary from both parties. On the one hand, the PDP has commented that, as far as they were concerned, the police were helping the ruling party. And, we've also heard that by looking away, by pretending nothing was going on, that kind of a thing. And of course, the ruling party, I've heard them say that that every move, every effort in both states by the opposition to rig the elections were checkmated, had been indeed. And I think there was some words of commendation for the work that INEC has done. So diametrically opposite views. Totally opposite.
You know, there are still allegations, counter allegations,
Yes,
violence,
yes,
an allegation of violence. This is because we see election here as a battle, as war, not a simple electoral process to bring about change. People have this do or die disposition, particularly the power of the person who is in government.
Okay,
the
that power of incumbency.
And those that are coming in. The two of them, they have that kind of disposition that this is war, we must fight it, and then win the war by any means necessary. Doesn't matter whether it is through violence, through thuggery, through ballot snatching. And this creates an impression that when electorates go to vote, their choices are truncated. Their votes may not really matter. And it has an effect on even the voters, because at some point they begin to lose confidence in the process. They begin to lose confidence in those that got into power. And they are pathetic to even the electoral process and political participation. Yes. And it also has another effect. And the effect is the more malpractices, violence, thuggery we have, the less the electoral integrity of that election. And without integrity in any election, the aim and objective of the election cannot be achieved, because the main objective of election is to elect government or people into power that will be responsible to people's needs and aspirations. People have a right to expect government to fulfill their needs, their aspirations.
But that's exactly what the candidates are all claiming to be. It's the person you described, that this is who they should be voting. This is what they're all pledging to do. This is what they're all claiming that they're going to do if you give me a chance. The next step now is going out there onto the field, onto the electoral field, and let it lie wherever it falls. Let the people decide. And that seems to be our problem. That's where all sorts of manipulations. But, you know, Chooks, perhaps even commenting on it. The other comment I heard about Bayelsa, and, well, not so much I heard, it is true. There's been a long stretch, a PDP stretch of 20 years, and some narrative is, at long last, you know, that, you know, stronghold, if you want, has been broken. I saw on video, on social, on the internet, former President Goodluck Jonathan commenting on the election. He himself, commenting from Bayelsa, you know, said he was a bit disappointed. Going by the reputation of INEC, it had done well in the past, and but this time he was a bit disappointed. Said that it didn't start on time. He was there on time, and you know, so there were some criticism from very much along the lines of what Janet has said, was what the former president was also saying. Say, for how long are we going to continue like this? But it's been declared. Bayelsa has changed hands. You know, it's now APC.
So the first thing first, let me address
Sure.
the questions that you have raised. First thing first is the fact that at the turn of a period of time, maybe 20 years, 25 years and all that, there's every likelihood that a change will occur.
Of course.
Either by nature or by, you know, by animation of human activities and all that. Things will change and all that. The problem with change is that it makes people who are comfortable, they become very uncomfortable. It brings pain to people, to some people and all that. And there are people who are going to be happy that there's a change in the affairs of leadership in Bayelsa State. So the necessary consequences is going to happen. Change is not an easy thing to deal with. So, but that they were not expecting it is my concern and all that. I don't want to get into the details of how that people, someone like me, but I've always known that given in every situation, after 20 years, you know, if you have a child 20 years ago, at the turn of 20, you expect certain changes to occur. I expect that at 20 years, it will happen. It happened to the government of PDP at the federal level, 2015, when there was a change and all that. So I think that we should take that in, that change naturally will occur, whether we like it or not. About the comment
and it's to be expected that we don't usually agree on election results.
Yes.
Apart from
elections, generally, if you are a man and you're a human being and you're living on this terra firma that we live in, 20 years, 10 years, 20, 30 years, they are just bound to be a natural occurrence. We've seen dust eruptions. We have seen natural occurrences happen. You can't control those things.
They would probably say, yeah, I come along with you, but let it be fair, because they are alleging the ground wasn't level.
But you can't, no, life itself is not fair. They need to take all of that into consideration in the whatever. I'm not saying that you shouldn't think the way you think, but things just change. Now, at the federal level, we had PDP, and they told us they were going to be in power for 60 years. Now, that's a good thing to say. That's to show that you have faith and all that. But it didn't happen. In 2015, they lost out.
And it was the very President Jonathan then that I quoted, who did the statesman-like thing.
Exactly.
And conceded.
Exactly. But I also wanted to, you raised the question about his observation during the elections. There was a comment that he made concerning how that the youth should brace up and all that. But he supervised an election.
He actually criticized the youth.
Yes. And I was saying
that most of INEC's people were youths.
Exactly.
So where are these youths? You youths have even disappointed.
Exactly. But you see, the former president was the youngest. I hope I'm not wrong. Was the youngest man to have been presided over the affairs of this country in our most recent history. He was 57 at the time, even less when he ascended power and all that. I thought that was very significant in the national evolution of this country. But I don't think we got the best from him. So when I saw that, I saw him on TV make those comments. Yeah. Practical observation. But he didn't leave enough good example for us who are younger than he is. Do you understand what I'm saying? I heard him. He was saying that, he's been in election missions abroad. That if you're late 30 minutes. He conducted an election here in 2015. And I know that there was an election in Ekiti State when Fayose was in power. And I know what happened, how that place was militarized and all that. I think that, like Theresa May has left power, you can hardly hear or see her, on national TV getting involved and all that. That's what our leaders should do. Sit behind and let's hear less of them. Maybe they can do all the things that they want to do, but go all over the world. When you leave the seat of power, some of these things that
did I miss it, or has former President Obasanjo also spoken? Because
they should all stop speaking.
Yeah, but
and provide.
But why would they stop speaking?
Let me tell you why they should stop speaking. See, we have enough good example of how it's done. You can speak, but the statements that our leaders make here are not good for the continuous existence of this accord. You can't tell me that Theresa May is not speaking, but they don't come on national TV in Britain, or you see the George Bush family
still want to be part of the news.
Or Clinton coming to whatever. They do what they want to do, maybe at their political party level and all that. But if your comments will lead to driving this nation forward, and you have left enough good example, why not? You can speak.
But Janet, you disagree.
Well, why would they just keep quiet because they were past presidents? That's why I'm saying that no, they can speak, but they must be careful about their choice of words. We didn't qualify it. You said they should not speak.
Well,
they should be
because
careful.
They don't even know what you're talking about qualification. They should not speak. They just speak out of the emotions and anger and all that, and pollute all the waters for us to drink from and all that. You want to tell me that Theresa May is permanently or eternally mute? No, Clinton is speaking, but we don't know how we speak because we're upset, we are not comfortable.
I think the point he is making is that being in the news, of course people will speak, but it's not everything you say that makes the news.
I think they can speak like every other Nigerian, but they should be very careful about their choice of words.
What's your assessment of the
words that
the speaking that we've been hearing from our past leaders?
Some are very inciting.
Okay.
Exactly.
Which, you can condemn what they've said, but you should not say they should not speak.
They should
But
stop
you should
speaking.
be careful, because even as journalists, we can speak, but we should be careful about even writing expression. A careless expression as a journalist, as an editor, can set this country ablaze. Even this time of election, you should be careful of your headlines, because you don't know the people you may be inciting. You may think that you are doing your job, but you are destroying some other people. So the same thing goes for every Nigerian. The same thing goes for even the past president. If you are going to speak, say something that will bring about unity. Have peace of this country in mind. Have the unity of this country in mind. Have the development of this country in mind. Not that you are coming to speak to destroy.
Does former President Jonathan's remarks, tick all those boxes that you're mentioning?
His comments did not tick all. I was at the studio yesterday, and I watched it when he said it. He took a swipe on everybody, not just the youth. He took a swipe on us journalists that no reporter was there. He took a swipe on the INEC officials that they were not there. He also took a swipe on the youth. He took.
Sorry, 1 second. I'll come back to you. I understand that Paul in the UK wants to join the conversation. Good morning, Paul.
Yeah, good morning.
Thank you for calling in. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, please, I want to contribute on the election in the two states. I'm calling from London.
Okay.
Yeah, when you look at the...
Kogi is still being collated, but, Bayelsa has been decided.
Okay. But you see the same picture. When you look at the number of security personnel that the government sent to the place, you discover that they have tried it before at Ekiti and Osun, and it worked. So they continue to try it. That's the ruling party. I'm talking of the ruling party. They are continuing to try that system. Load the whole place with. You can imagine 35,000 policemen plus the military to frighten the people. When you load the whole place with security, people will be afraid. Nobody will like, what is he voting for? Nobody will like to go and risk his life going to vote. So they use that opportunity to do what they want to do. That's the essence of this security load they use. They use that security, the number of security, to scare the people and they rig the election. That's just it. Every other thing they are talking is story.
All right.
So you load the whole place with security people, with security personnel, 35,000, 70,000 at the end. You get up to 100,000 security people running all over the place. Then those who are rigging are down to 8 doing the rigging. That's what they are doing.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Paul, for calling in and sharing your perspectives with us. Rigging, well, that's an allegation that has to be proved. It's one thing to say it, but I imagine the courts, as always, unfortunately, with our elections, are going to get pretty involved in this because there are allegations and counter allegations. As I said, I've heard comments from APC saying that they not so much they. The way it was phrased was that efforts to rig were effectively checkmated. Efforts of the other party to rig were effectively checkmated. And I've also heard a commentary from PDP that in its life it has never seen this kind of a wuru-wuru election before. So it's one of those kind of things.
She was making a point. She was making a point that I just want to chip in something. In this country, we have had Gowon preside over the affairs of this country many years ago before these people. We have also had Abu Salam. You don't want to tell me that they have suddenly gone dumb. It's just wisdom in knowing what is important and the existence of this country, the peace that we require, and the development that she talked about. They can only be attained if we have leaders who have been there, who know when to speak and where to speak, and not constantly be in the news. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
That's the point that I was making.
Okay. Yeah.
That's the point that I'm making.
But you see, former President Jonathan was also making a similar point that, look, how will you get the people that are real leaders? He even referred to himself as followers, that, the leaders, so that we the rest, we the followers, can be inspired and be led by them. So it's a point that he was making.
I am saying that the best way to do this is to provide enough example when you had the opportunity.
You did say that. Okay,
Yes.
let me quickly bring in Abdul. Mr. Abdul in Jos. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Well done. God bless you all.
Thank you very much for coming in. Go ahead, please.
You see what I want to appeal to Nigerians.
Sure.
We should always agree and accept change when it comes. Because you have the opportunity to be on the throne today, or you have the opportunity to talk on the television. There are many people. There are those people who have no opportunity like you, and they are great in number. So if you incite violence, you see what is happening now. Only the poor people will bear the brunt. But you that you have the money, you can fly out, you can go to the best hospital. But we should always think of those people who have no power to go to hospital or run to overseas. See what the man in the overseas is talking. You are talking about security, 35,000 security. This is Nigeria, it's not London. London is different from Nigeria. We, Nigeria, we must accept that we should do things the way it's supposed to be, not begin to quote London or America. We are human beings ourselves. We have professors, we have doctors. Let us to talk like educated people. We should leave better things for our children, our grandchildren to come. When there is change, let's accept change.
Okay.
If you don't accept your own today, I will not accept your own tomorrow. You accept my own today, I will accept your own. Good, God bless. Thank you very much.
Indeed, thank you very much for calling in. He was clear, right?
Yes, it was
pretty
clear. And he also made a good point that you should accept change. You know, for 20 years, PDP had been governing Bayelsa State, and the tables have turned around. Power has changed hands. So we hope that this new man that is making history with his coming in after 20 years of PDP rule will be able to give the people the needs and the aspirations that they really, really crave for. Not that he will still come back and serve his personal or partisan needs and objectives. He should play a role that the change would actually be valued. Okay. Because if he comes in and then goes the other way like his predecessors, people may not be happy with him. And then still on Jonathan.
Sorry, okay. Please hold the thought so that you can air it when I come back. I've got to rush off on a break now. Stay with us, please. Okay, welcome back. Still with Chuks Nwoko and Janet Afolabi Mba. And I had to interrupt you to go to break. Would you like to complete the thought, or it's evaporated?
Okay, we're still talking about leaders who are making expressions, talking about
okay.
And we said it has to be for peace and development of this country. Gowon had not been totally quiet. Remember, Gowon had a program, Nigeria Praise. That was his own project, praying for Nigeria. And you remember the popular statement that was made by Gowon when he was head of state. And by the way, he was in his 30s. He's still the youngest. If you want to look at
but nobody called him. Nobody called him. Nobody called him.
Yes, he called himself.
Yes, he called himself. So
he called himself.
Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why Chuks didn't include him when he was looking for the youngest. I remembered it, but I said maybe
I forgot it. But I was actually saying I hope I am not.
Wrong.
But I also use the word that that in our recent.
Yes,
history.
now and
no,
democracy.
but you are right, because you are talking about democracy.
Yes,
I'm
you're talking about democracy.
The military era. Exactly. He was the youngest. Okay. He was in his 30s.
Well, you know, guys. Sorry. There's a certain organization, the Situation Room or something like that. So in fact, all the old media was quoting the Situation Room. Now, the INEC chair, I didn't see the tweet myself, but I have it on good authority. He actually tweeted that place has been closed down. Sorry, sir. What sort of makes it remarkable for me is that the Situation Room, as it is called, had called for the cancellation of the elections, and that INEC had performed under par. And in short, as far as they were concerned, no elections were actually ongoing.
I'm just so eager and quick to want to join issues with you over that Situation Room people, because every time we have enough problems, But we have just had this habit of suddenly from nowhere we create another one, then we add it to what we already have in the mix. I don't understand where this situation room came from. But if it's a creation of INEC, I think they have right to close it down. Because we cannot have too many of these voices.
If it is a creation of INEC.
But if it's an NGO.
It's an NGO.
Yeah, but if the room, who created the room for them? Who gave them the authorization and endorsement and permit?
Yeah.
Then you can withdraw it because we already have our weak institutions. But we cannot suddenly have a stronger NGO. Now, I don't have a problem with what they are saying or what they are doing. I'm just saying that we cannot continue to pull down our institutions. The major problem that we have in the electoral politics process is the type of politics that we play and the people. We never address these politicians.
Okay.
We must always find a way of disciplining people who run far of our laws. We don't do that.
Okay.
So who gave them this voice? Where did they come from?
That's the question. Because
who's funding them?
Everybody was quoting them. Everybody was, well, when I say everybody,
this country belongs to all of us. I have an NGO.
Yes.
I have not used that platform to make comments that are just going to be disruptive and cause chaos everywhere.
Yinka in the United Kingdom, good morning, sir, and apologies for keeping you waiting. Please go ahead.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for calling in, sir.
Hello. Look, I just want to contribute to Uncle Yori's program.
Please go ahead. You're on air right now.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Please, I want to comment on what the last person but one who lives in London, commenting about the number of military personnel that were drafted to.
That was Paul.
Conduct this election in Bayelsa State.
Yeah.
What people don't understand is that we live in London, but people in London understand what is going on outside London. But people, our own people at home, they don't usually do things in the normal way. If they don't see policemen, they don't see soldiers around, they do not do what they're supposed to do. So I do not blame the INEC or the government for providing more than enough personnel on the floor. Even as we have personnel on the floor, people are still going about in uniform men, people holding guns and shooting into the air. Look at what happened in Kogi State.
Yeah.
So what the hell are they talking about? Somebody just talking from London that, it's demilitarized, and they are even thinking about that, talking about that of the Kogi State. People don't learn to do what they're supposed to do without seeing people who will tell them and who will control them. Thank you, Uncle Yori.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Great job.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for calling in.
I think he made a point. Despite the provision of policemen, and by the way, sometimes those figures may not be real. They just say 100,000 on paper, but if you now count 1, 2, 3, you may not get that number, because a lot of people have in the past alleged that the numbers don't really correspond with what they allege to have sent there, because you don't see them or at the polling unit. Somebody even
said, you're not supposed to see them,
but you should see them around. Not
the whole
at
idea,
maybe some meters.
They can't man the polling
unit. No. But you see them far away. That's right. A visible sight.
Like,
yes.
Maybe 100 or 200 yards.
Yeah, it's a way. It's all that your eyesight can see, not your blind sight.
Yes.
So the point I'm trying to make is that the policemen are important. Despite their presence, you could see the confidence. They played the tape yesterday. The confidence, some guys came in, hijacked the ballot box.
This is the problem.
In the presence of the same security people.
In the face of that very security.
Exactly.
And then they shot in the air, and people ran, of course, for their lives, and they escaped with those things. So you can imagine that if there were none at all, and then all the policemen or security agents you see on uniform on days of election may not necessarily be genuine policemen or real policemen, because the IG has said before in an interview that some of these people, because they are desperate to win, they can buy uniforms, they can import, they can sew, they can rent, they can even steal it, you know, to wear on that day in order to engage in fraudulent.
But at least those are the.
So not all of them you see in uniform are real policemen or soldiers.
Okay, but at least.
That's what
But we have to go. We have to
specified,
go by the figures police have
there's
given
also
us.
specified way, manner of conduct expected of those policemen. They don't carry arms.
Yes.
They have to maintain a certain proximity to the police and all that.
Mm.
So they are not going. Most of them. I mean, if you watch the collation centers and all, you see policemen sitting
right.
down without guns and all that.
Okay,
now,
one moment. Sorry, Mazi Okorafor has been waiting for a while. Apologies, Mazi. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, our guests in the studio.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Happy New Week.
Indeed.
Honestly, and our guests in the studio. When people start complaining about election results, I start laughing. You know, I start laughing in the sense that in anything that has to do with the election, in any part of the world, even not only Nigeria, there are two factions. Either you go in a gentleman's way or you go in abracadabra way. Two ways. Either you choose one. Now, all the two factions, everybody is going to abracadabra. It depends on how strong and how powerful, how aggressive or corrosive your own abracadabra is. So that is the issue. No, people say, this man, you carry gun, this person carry gun. Now, who is carrying gun? The man who is carrying gun, where did he pass through with the gun? Is it an old man? Is it not youth? So why are people come? Now, look, election have reached at a stage that in any part of the world, when you want any elective post, be prepared. Anything you see, if you take either good or bad. But the thing is, the youths are the main actors. Anything you do in this country, you don't have the backing of the youth, forget it. Because whatever you are going to do, it is the same youth that will help you, make you move forward. The same youth will use you to destroy it. The same youth will come back and do it to balance everything in equilibrium form. That is it. So all these issues, I used to tell you, brother, if you know you pass, fine. Or you win, pass. If you fail or you didn't win, just wait. 2023. What you do now, you have seen all the abracadabra way that happened this time around. What do you do now? You strategize your own system by 2023.
Yes.
Until that you move ahead. That is politics.
All right.
Because, now, let me give you, you saw what happened in one of these African countries. Oh, no, I forgot his name. I could have told to go and play the clip and see what happened. Because when you see the way people were running, and you start like that. So, Nigeria still have the same system. Thank you very much. Have a pleasant day. The loser should accept in good faith. You know, you see, there was a
like a sportsman.
The man said, after making his own contribution in the corrections, he said, well, Mr. Yori, we'll meet at the tribunal. Let me judge you that thing. We'll meet at the tribunal.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mazi, for calling in. And also just to say that since we've been on the program, we've been seen mostly by diasporans, you know, that's where the cost will be coming from. But that's because they're collating the results of the election in Kogi. Now they've gone on a recess and, you know, so the system has joined us. Then Nigerian viewers are also, as you know, Mazi Okorafor was able to call in. That means that local viewers have also been able to join us. So in addition to our international viewers, we've now been joined by our local viewers as well.
Okay, Yori, Mazi has made a great point. He said each party or each group had tried to rig. It's the one that outsmarts the other. But you see the dangerous thing in violence.
No, he didn't say anybody has tried to rig. He said he said abracadabra.
Okay, abracadabra. Abracadabra is magic. Abracadabra is magic. Because there is really no perfect election anywhere in the world. There is no perfect election anywhere in the world. Mm-hmm. So, but we can have electoral integrity. What is electoral integrity? Electoral integrity is the absence of malpractices, absence of violence, rigging, ballot box snatching, and all of that.
Are we getting better? Because
we are not getting better. No,
okay,
we are not getting better. That's why I'm even trying to raise this point.
Okay.
We are not getting better. Since 1960 till the First Republic till date, we are the same problems that were prevalent at that time are still prevailing now. So we have not changed.
Okay. At this stage, let me bring in Mr. Maduka in the UK. Good morning, Mr. Maduka.
Good morning, Chief
Okay.
Yori.
Okay, good morning, sir.
How are you today?
Very well, thank you.
Yeah. I need to put one or two things into what we are discussing today.
Okay.
One, the critical one to me is I listened to the former President, Jonathan, when he made his comments. Just like your colleague there has said, I'm so much concerned that our leaders just jump out at every flash of things in Nigeria and begin to talk. And the pressmen, too, have a responsibility in this, because if you look at UK and America, in America right now, there is impeachment procedure going on their president. CNN is there, and there are so many other press organizations in U.S. None of them have gone to any of these past presidents to seek their opinion on what is going on. But if it was in Nigeria, I can guarantee, I can tell you that most of the press houses will be running around all these past leaders to find out from them what is their opinion. So Nigerian press have to also watch what they do.
Exactly.
Okay. Then coming down to the election in Nigeria, for me, there has never been any time when there is an election in Nigeria. What the politicians do, they play their games. One caller has said it. What we have is a game all of them are in. The one that cries is the one that has been beaten by the faster one. There are only two political parties or political organizations in Nigeria. One is the politicians. The other one are the Nigerians. As far as I'm concerned, that is the simple analogy. So
Okay.
We have, and then the one again that I can't even understand how it happened is the so-called civil rights organization, do they call them situation room?
Yes.
An election is ongoing. The only body that has right to make a pronouncement on election, which is ongoing, remain INEC, not even the federal government of Nigeria. But an organization like that is already giving a verdict.
Yes.
When you are calling for cancellation, I thought their responsibility should be more of advisory. So that some of them, Uncle is somebody I respect so much. In fact, I was so much ashamed when I saw him talking.
Okay.
Because I know he has a direct access to INEC chairman. If you have serious concerns, place a call to INEC chairman and say, look, this is what we are observing. You need to think around it and know what to do. Not going public to ask for cancellation. I believe that if I tell you that money has exchanged hands, I may not be wrong. That is Nigeria we're talking about. I'm so concerned because I'm a Nigerian call. Yes, I live in UK, but Nigeria remains my country and my home. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Maduka, for calling in. Again, the kind of thing that you're talking about here, that we have to be very, very careful.
Exactly.
We have to be patriotic,
Exactly. Exactly. You see, what he has done is that he just said everything. Let's take Bayelsa for example. The man who had just won the election, I'm sure he's a Bayelsan. I doubt if he has not had some stint in PDP before he moved to APC. They are Bayelsan. He's not from North Korea, neither is he from Russia or China. So he's going to serve for 4 years and all that. Dixon, see how transient life can be and power can be. He's been there for 8 years. Suddenly at the closure of his tenure, he's just become vulnerable because I really sympathize him. I can imagine what he's going through. But hey, it's your brother that has just won an election. It's an in-house business. It's all of you in that place. So, yes, I don't see any reason why you're going to have some NGO come to a place and be making a declaration and all that. And I think that attitude of brotherhood should exist in politics, especially at the state level, even at the national level. If you lose an election, you go home. We saw what Jonathan did here when he lost an election, and you have people who were raising, and it's usually the people who are outsiders, who have been, these hangers on, beneficiaries who raised this dust. Because I read an account of how he was held down. Former President Jonathan was held down, was receiving all kinds of advices. He stood up, went to Arena room, picked up his phone, And that has remained an example that people should emulate, especially at the state level, where your brother from the neighboring local government has just defeated in an election or defeated your party. Take a phone, you call him. All these partisanship and all these hue and cry,
especially
with all the money that has been spent.
Especially the body called situation room.
What is situation room?
That's what I'm worried about, because nobody has a right to announce
exactly.
To announce results. The Electoral Act is very clear. Section 123, subsection 4 has it that anybody who does that is risking 3 years imprisonment. So if they have violated that law, they should be charged to court, because you are not supposed to announce any result.
But they didn't. It's just that the commentary that they were running.
You are asking for cancellation.
Where
did you get the
that's a judgment.
You cannot ask for cancellation.
He has done more than an announcement.
Yes.
Why are you asking for cancellation of what you don't know?
Okay,
Is it possible?
Bob in Jos. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for calling in.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you so much.
Please go ahead.
Uncle Yori, I think it's high time we should look into this, our election in this country. It's high time we should look into democracy we practice in this country. That each time election takes place in this country, there must be lots of life, as if you are sacrificing human being for election. We should. Is that how it's been practiced in an advanced country? We follow this democracy form. That each time there is election in this country, there must be lots of life. Are we sacrificing human beings for election? Is that how it should go? For God's sake. Okay. I think it's high time we should do this thing and do it right. And also, my concern is that maybe we should make politics unattractive. That is the only way we should make politics unattractive. What is attractive in this politics? In this politics we are talking about, it's money. It's money. Everybody is looking for money, and politics is the only thing that can fetch you money. Under 6 months, you are a billionaire. Under 1 year, you are a millionaire. It's only politics.
Yeah.
During the time of Shagari, it wasn't like that. During the time of Second Republic, it wasn't like that. You understand me? The only institution we know that time is oil company and bank. Those are the two institutions that earn more money. But today is politics. From 1999 to date, it's politics that can fetch you money under 6 months.
Okay,
you are a billionaire.
Okay, Bob.
That is the way we can get rid of all these problems.
Thank you very much.
Make politics highly attractive in this country, we will never get it right.
All right. Thank you very much for calling in, Bob. But I guess there are a lot of people that will say it's been going on for a long, long while. You said it. It's been going on. What you're complaining about has been going on for a long time. He said it didn't happen in Shagari. That's in the Second Republic.
Yeah, it was terrible at that time.
It was. But it's just that it was not.
We have more money now.
It was not this crazy, right?
No, we have more money now.
The magnitude and the manifestation is more now, because we are more enlightened now. A lot of people are more interested in politics because they've seen the benefits of politics, and many of them are not.
Were fewer in number.
Yes, and they were not. During the military, people were not really interested because they knew that at the end they would still it will be truncated. Yes. So you go back to square one. But now that they know that democracy has been steady to a large extent in Nigeria, so lots of people are interested. But are they interested because they want to go and serve the people? Are they there as agents of service to humanity, or are they there as agents of crime against humanity? Are they there to go and self-serving?
We've run out of time, so we must get out of here. According to the producers, they become more insistent as the seconds count down. But thank you very much for coming on, Janet Afolabimba and Chuks Mwoko. In the case of trying to decide what's going on in Kogi, they've just gone on recess, but we are live. The coalition is live and will be brought to you by TVC. Just stay by your screen. So that's our program today. Thank you very much for being with us. Join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folani. Bye-bye for now.